Okay, oh, I gotta move this over here, even though you probably can't see that. Okay, yeah, so again, my camera's here, but I'm looking here. So here we are. So basically, we are up to, we want to do these last two pieces. So I'm going to do this one first. And we started on this. We managed to create a class. If we go ahead in here and look at it, it's called config. It's got a dictionary and a list. And if we look at our config JSON file, code config JSON, yeah, there we go. You can see it's got this list of these in potential names for index files. So if we go into a folder, we try to serve it. We don't specifically say go to index.html, but there is an index.html in there or an index.htm or whatever. It'll find it and serve it. So these are like the default names it'll look for. If we say serve from this folder, but we don't say which file. Then we have all the MIME type mappings. You know, .asf is a video, whatever this means, and AVI is another type of video, and bin means it's a binary data, so it's an octet stream or whatever. And so this class basically models that. There's a dictionary, string to string, those are the MIME types. There's index files, list of string, that's a list of those. So we're able to read this if we look in here at our program. Test JSON2 actually reads all this. We're like, okay, JSON serialized thingamajig. This is just like name and case insensitive names. Wait, no, sorry, JSON, there it is. Config.json, and then we've got the MIME types and the index file. We're able to read all of that. And if we run this .NET run, it should boop, run that. You got text HTML. That's the MIME type for HTML, and then index HTML. That's the first thing in this array. Cool. So we can read that. Now what we need to do is pass this config C# file to our constructor somehow. And so if we go in here and look at this, there's two ways we can go about doing this. We can, where are we looking? Where's our constructor? Hello, constructor. Right, here we go. We can pass the config object into one of these two constructors. That would certainly work. We would have to create it, but that's not really how configuration works. When you configure something, you don't like create the configuration object and pass it to the constructor. You tell the constructor, like, here's the path to serve from, here's the port number, and here's the name of the config file, say. So I think that's how I want to approach it. And both of these basically just call initialize. So I think both of them probably need, and the only difference between these two, this one, you give it a port. This one, it like finds any open port. So this isn't really that important. You know, we could get by without this and just say you always have to specify a port. This one like finds an open port and then uses it. I don't know. I don't really care too much. I might even delete this because I don't even think it gets called. I don't need to delete it. It's fine. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to say string config file name. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, well, now the next, okay, cool. No, this is good. So we're going to pass in the config file name. Now, where do we read the config file? We know what the code's going to look like. It's going to basically be this, right? Where do we put this code? Do we put it in the constructor or do we put it in initialize? Either one would work. I would argue we put it in initialize. And here's why. If you look at this, we're calling initialize here. We're also calling initialize here, right? We're giving it a path and a port. And then all the things it has to do with the path, which is like the files folder that has the static HTML files, and the port number, which is where it's going to start listening. All the work it does for that is in initialize. So I would say probably this code for, and I'll go ahead and copy this, for reading everything should be in initialize. So I am going to config file name, pass that into initialize. And then down here, this one is like, we just give it a path and it figures out some defaults. How do we want to do this? Do we want to pass it in here? Do we want to just, you know, here's what I'm debating between. Do I do this? Right? Do I do this? and pass it in? Or do I do this and I'm just like, guess what? If you don't tell me, I'm going to just assume it's config.json. This would work, but honestly, it's a little sloppy, right? It's a little sloppy. We don't really want that. I think we want config file name, file name. Great. And I think we want it up here as well. String config file name. There we go. Okay. I think we want that up here as well. Wow, that's weird. No, I don't actually want you to. Why are you doing this to me? Why is that? Let's go to here and come back. That didn't get rid of it. Go to here and come back. Okay, close it. And it's just still there. Why are you there? Wow. Well, that's a weird little bug. Oh, I had to hit escape. Got it. Okay, we got to open up simple server again. Yeah, and it remembers where we were. Yeah, so I think that's what we want to do. We want to do here. Now we got to open initialize. Go to the definition. Good. This now has string, no, lowercase s for string, config file name. And I think I'm going to add to this and autocomplete, magic autocomplete should figure this out. The name of the JSON configuration file. Okay. This is like the equivalent of JavaDoc, but in JavaDoc, there's like a /** special type of comment. This is the same thing. It's a special type of comment, but instead of having like a multi-line comment with whatever, you just have this like // like and then this is basically, it's not literally HTML, it's XML, but it's like you can see these are tags with parameters and then the closing tags. It's like HTML, but with a little stricter syntax. And so C# has a mechanism for like taking these comments and creating documentation. They don't call it C# doc like they call it JavaDoc. I don't know what they call it. I could look it up, but I don't feel like looking it up right now. Ask ChatGPT. I need like an Alexa ChatGPT so I can just be like, start telling me random things. Anyway, so now the question is, do I create it here? Probably. I probably do all that code in here and initialize. Now, one other challenge that we have to solve. Wow, I'm really pounding out the Diet Coke today. You can tell by my high energy level. Don't I have another tea? There we go. I want my tea. I want my MTV. So we're going to read that config file. What do we want to do with it? We know it's going to have the list of potential file names if we're serving a folder, the default names, index.html, default HTML, etc. We know it's also going to have all the MIME types. Now, currently, those are here. Those are like this and this. So what do we want to do with that? Well, we're reading these out of this config file. What do we want to do into this class, an instance of this class? Now, it's sort of a subtle question, but do we like give the simple server an instance of config and then put all of the configuration information in it? In that case, it could read the port number, it could read the folder, like it could read whatever out of there. Or do we sort of read the config file and then if we have information in it, stick it in the simple server? Now, right now, it's a little sloppy because some of the parameters here, like, yeah, these are passed as command line, not command line, method parameters. This is the name of a config file, which is going to get read, and we're going to do some stuff with it to read the other stuff out of it. So could port and path be in the config file? They probably could. Do I want to take the time to unify all of that right now? Probably not. Probably not. But I'm just walking you through my thought process. So I think what I'm going to do is like, these are fine. And then I'm going to put this in here. Wow, that's not at all what I expected. Here we go. This in here, right, so here's our, wow, that's not at all where I wanted it. There we go, much better. Okay, good. So I'm going to say here, read config file. Okay, so, and this is not this anymore. This is now config file. Okay, cool. So we're reading this config object with whatever. Now, what I want to do is I want to read everything into our variables. Now, what that means is that this isn't going to be like this anymore. This is now going to be, you know, I don't know. Well, let's do it this way since it's easier with the keyboard. I'm going to, oh no, that's not what I wanted. Wow. Okay. And yeah, this is now going to be that. This is now just a reference. And I don't think it needs to be static. I think this can be, I mean, it's fine if it's static. That just means like if we, it's rare you're going to have two different web servers running like from the same virtual machine. Like why would you? How would that be helpful? I don't think you would ever do that. So making this static versus making it not static, making it static means there's one shared among all our instances of simple server, but all those instances are in the same virtual machine, right? You can't share instances between two different virtual machines. So like each, I just don't think it needs to be static. I just don't think it matters. I'm not going to make it static. And then up here for this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're just boop, bam, right? We're just going to make these references. Now what we're going to do is figure out where the heck, oh geez, where were we? Yeah, initialize, read the config file, and we're going to say underscore mime types equal config.mime types. That's good. Oh, hey, look, it knows what I want. And then I'll say assign from the config file. Oh, great. It kind of knows what I want. So now this should just do everything it did before. We should pass the name of the config file, read the config file. We probably need to look at program here now. If we look down here at our where is it? Test servers, test our simple server. This now needs config.json. And what I'm getting at is now we've got this weird hybrid where like these have to be specified as parameters, but all the other stuff, the mime types and whatever, because it's like more data, has to go in this JSON file. But this could be in the, all this could just be in the JSON file. And we could just say like, start up a simple server. Here's your config file. All the information you need is in the config file. Go. Maybe we will do that, but not right now. I want to try to run this first. So this should, well, it should work in a second here. I need to comment this out and put this back in. Now let's do .NET run. Let me drink more tea while I'm waiting. Oh yeah. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? The name config file does not exist. Well, okay, that is definitely an issue. What line is that? 319? Well, let's look at line 319. What do you have for me, 319? That's here. Config file, because here I call the config file name. So there's that. Turns out the names have to match. Who knew? Let's try it again. Something else didn't work. Okay, the name mime types does not exist. Okay, 322. That's this. So that's basically, well, this is something that auto-completed. When I say auto-complete, what I really mean is GitHub Copilot. I have GitHub Copilot installed. GitHub Copilot, if you don't know, is basically like ChatGPT, but for programming. And it plugs into VS Code and other things like that. They call it GitHub Copilot because GitHub has been really pushing it, and GitHub is owned by Microsoft, and OpenAI, which developed ChatGPT. I don't know if they're owned by Microsoft or just if Microsoft like is a big contributor to them or something. Maybe they are owned by Microsoft. I'm not sure, but Microsoft certainly has a financial stake in OpenAI. So it would make sense that OpenAI's big attempt at sort of magic auto completion for programming would target GitHub because that's got crap loads of code to train on because it's all just sitting there. And it's also owned by Microsoft. So, you know, that's the thing. But what this is saying is this isn't what it's called. I don't remember what it's called because why would I remember things? So let's look that up. What is it called? It is called MIME type mappings. Yeah. And this is called index file. So I just got the names wrong. Is there a thing where I can like see method names or whatever? How do I show me? Was that this? Is this going to show me method names? No. Oh God, what a disaster my file structure is. Pretend I never looked at this. Oh, that's right. I was trying to mess with this program. Oh my goodness. This isn't even the right full. Yeah, this isn't even the right thing. This is when I was. Oh. Okay. I want method. This knows the method names, obviously. So like, why can't I see the method? So I want to be able to click on the method names like you can in Eclipse. There's some way to make that work. Do I feel like asking anything? No, I really don't. I mean, I do. I just don't know. This is fine. This is a thing. Who knows? I'll just scroll around. Blah. No, I want initialize. Where's the initialize method? Did I miss it? Oh God. There it is. Okay, fine. This is not called MIME types. This is called MIME. There we go. I knew the autocomplete would eventually figure it out. Okay, let's try this. Nope. A read-only field. Line 323. Let's see what that's telling me. Index files. Index files must be read-only. Huh. I did not know that. It is. Read-only is like final. So you can only assign that in the constructor. Ah, okay. Whereas this, nope. Oh. No, yeah, there it is. This isn't the constructor. This is the special initialize method that gets called by both constructors. And like a lot of our configuration's been pushed down into here. Probably what we should do is make this a constructor so we could then assign read-only fields. The reason we want it to be read-only is once we assign it, we don't want you to be able to change it, right? But with this being a method and not a constructor, it can't assign it. Like it can't change it. This assignment is illegal. Or no, this assignment is illegal. So what we have to do is go up here and find this, and this can't, yeah, it can't be read-only. But there is an argument for it to be read-only. You don't really want the running server to accidentally go in and change something. Probably that won't happen. Hey, it's working. Let's make sure that everything actually works. Local, oh wait, we had localhost. Here it is. Localhost, books, something, something, something. Does that work? Sure. Does it work without n equal anything? Sure. No, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, so you have to click it twice. We still haven't really solved that. Foo. That doesn't work, but if I do it again, it does. And this, does it? Wow, it really does want to be clicked twice. That's got to be something in how I've structured it, where like something's not closing in time and needs to, I don't know. That's on me, I'm sure. Not closing the connection or something. I haven't figured it out yet why you have to click it twice, but that's on the to-do list. Okay, so but this works that these are being read. These are being jeez. Blah 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 blah. That these are now being read in, right? We're not hard coding these. These are in a config file which can get changed. This is hard coded. I don't really care because there's not that many servlets, and I need to call a constructor here. So I could say like foo is bound to foo handler, but ultimately it would have to then like take the string from the config file and like look up this constructor with reflection and whatever else. I'm just going to leave this like this and not try to make this particularly fancy. So we've got this configuration working. That looks really good. Now the next, so that means that in this world, we now have this done into a configuration type. Mapping of servlet classes to paths. We're not going to do that. Mapping of file endings to MIME types. Mapping of, we're not going to do the servlet classes. Mapping of default default file names. It's not mapping, it's just a list of possible default file names into a configuration file. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to do this, show books 1 to n. Perfect. Okay. So for this, you know what I'm going to do is I'll stop this and I'll do git diff. I have diff n, so it'll tell me which files have been changed with git. I'm going to do, and then I'm make sure I'm on the right branch. I am. Git add program and simple server, git commit -m. This is the message. And this will be, oh, and git add config.json. I think that's already been added. Git commit -m, and I'm going to say moved MIME mappings and list of index files into config.json and added appropriate code to parse config.json. That's a verbose commit, but whatever. And I'll do git push to the solution branch. No, to the solution remote, the solution branch. Bam. Okay, good. So now we've got everything's committed. That looks good. Now the next thing I need to do is show thingamajigs 1 to n. So this is foo handler, which is not that interesting. And this is simple. Wait, no, books handler must be up above it. There we go. Book handler. Okay, great. Process request. Right now, this just, right, this one we can say n equal whatever, and it'll grab that book. So n is one possible command. And this is sort of it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say there are, here's ultimately what I want to be able to do over here. So nope, over here. Right. I want to be able to books, and I want to do, yeah, and I want to do list, and I want to do start equal 1, end equal 50, right? Now this won't work right now, but that's what I want. So no, I can't say list. I want to say something like command equal list, s equal 1, e equal 50. So I want to sort of create commands for this. And so, so if command is null, what do I want to do? Well, probably nothing. Let's do this. If yeah, so here's what we want to do. We basically we want this header information to just be there and just, you know, be ready to go. And then what we want is I don't know, we want a for loop to generate the rest of the table, right? So we want to generate this with some code and then stick the string in here. And then this will all just be the same. We're just going to ship out the response. So I think that's what we want to do. Yeah, I don't know. That seems fine. So let's do this. Let's say, yeah, here we go. We want this. Okay, if command is null, if it doesn't contain this, so if it doesn't have a command, then I don't know, we need some error here. Oh, hey, what do you know? I like that. Good. We'll just return code 400 bad request. Great. And I'll put a to do in here. Improve this. Improve the error message. So we're saying that, okay, you have to specify a command. Perfect. Now at this point, we know there's a command. So I can say string command equal that, right? We know. Yeah. We know that there's a command. So now we can check what is the command. So if command dot equals list, now we're going to list books, list books S to E in the, from the database. It's not really a database, from the data, from the JSON file. Hey, it knows. Now we can have other commands. So we can say else if command dot equals n, then show only book number n. That's basically like this part here. So I think what I would do here is, yeah, that would be command equal. Well, you know what? That doesn't really make any sense. We'll just do only this one command. This is fine. List books S to E. So what do we want to do is int start equal context dot request dot query string of S. And we want, I don't know, this. We want a integer I32 parse it. Now, a bunch of things could go wrong here, which I'm not going to mess with right now. And start end. Okay. I'm just going to put a to do in here. Handle, the case handle errors, which would be E or S not specified, not a number, etc. Yeah. And I'm just not going to mess with that right now, but I kind of recognize that probably we would need to do that. Now, what I need to do is, oh, wow, it's already trying to generate the result for me, but that's not what I want. I can get rid of this, get rid of that. Right, we're gonna, okay. So this response is, this is the header, right? This is good. We're basically, well, I'll just take this whole piece up. Good grief. I'll take this whole thing. God, I got to get this done so I can get lunch and then get ready for the next class. This is now ready. Good. All right. It's all fine. So what I want to do now is basically take my list of books, which I think is just called books. Don't I have this? Books dot sort. No, I don't want to sort it. Oh. I mean, that makes sense. I don't know if that's a thing that exists. Books dot get range. Books is a list. I mean, this is where GitHub Copilot is kind of magical. So, but I don't want to change books. What I want to do is list of book sublist equal books.getRange start to end minus start, because that's kind of what I want. Oh, this would be start at start and get me this many, right? So if start is like 10 and end is 20, I want to start at 10 and get me 20 minus 10 or 10 books. So that would get me 10 up to, 19, up to, but not including 20. So this makes sense. Oh, we also need to handle errors, not a number, S bigger than E, etc. Right, but I'm not messing with that. I'm just going to like, okay, so now, the response, so we'll call this the header. You know what? Maybe I'll do the right thing and do a string buffer. No, F it. I don't care. I'll just cheese it up. and perfect. Good. And I can like, I don't know. I don't know. Do I care that it's weirdly indented in the HTML? No, nobody cares. Now this, watch this. So now what we're going to do is for each book in sub list, do basically this. So I'm going to say response plus equal that. I'm not going to end the table. That's not what I'm going to do. I guess I will put some extra new lines in there just so that if I have to look at the HTML, it'll look better. Great. That looks all fine. So that's my for each loop, which ends here. Non-selective. Sticky bums all over your face. Well, I know. I've been listening to Zealous One from the mid 2000s. He was with another nerdcore rapper, and they took that like viral video about Boom Headshot and made a song out of it, which is a pretty good song. And so I've got stuck in my head. Anyway, is that important? No. That just bought me some time to like think. Okay, good. So we're going to concatenate a bunch of these together. Then we're going to say, response and the table. Wow, this is GitHub Copilot is smart. Good. With this, yeah, okay. This crap here with authors needs to still happen. Okay, does this look fine? Yeah, this is all fine. Okay, for each book, blah, 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 blah. Well, whatever. This is fine. String authors equals string.join. But what I want this delimiter to be that and then a line break, which is fine. Response, this should all be swell. This looks great. This can all go. Why am I weirdly indented here? Why is this okay. If string response for each blah, 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 blah. Oh, right, because this loop needs to end. Boop. Or whatever this is. Is this a loop? What was this again? This was an outer loop, right? No, this is just an if. Okay, so now if I want to have, if command equals random, look at this. Look at this. I'm just going to say, give me that. So if the command is random, in other words, I cmd equal random, it literally picks a random book, else unknown command. Well, that seems fine. And then I'm just going to say to do handle unknown command, which we're not currently doing. We could send like an error message or something. And so now this is HTML and we do all this and we send it and this should work. I don't know. It probably won't work. Let's run it. And then I got to go eat. Oh, I did not want to push. I wanted to not .NET run. The name response does not exist. Well, bite me. Line 114. Roger that, 114. Yeah, duh. This isn't here anymore. Why is this here, Spacco? That's insane. Of course this can't be here. Boop. This is now here. Boop. Boop. Right. Yeah. This is now here. And then now if you give any other command, other than, yeah, okay. So if you give, Yeah, okay. This is now kind of a disaster a little bit because all of this code, literally, we have to copy this. I mean, you can see the need for a method here. We're going to copy this. This is for a random book. This is for our one special book or for our list of books, right? So you can see this is a mess. Either we need to like declare a response outside of this and then send the response no matter what, or we need to turn all of this part here into a function of some kind. Let's see if this works. So I'm not doing either of those. Okay, good. This is working. So let's do command equal, let's see if we can get a random book. And we can. If we run this again, do we get a random book? No, because it's stuck. But if we hit it again, we get a random book. Good. List, whoops, command equal list, ampersand start equal 2, ampersand end equal, 8, 6, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I should get back 5, 5, and then I gotta do it twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I got 4 instead of 5, and all this is wrong. I know why, obviously. Obviously, yep. You can just see it here. That looks good, right? That looks good. This does not. That's not gonna substitute. That's not gonna substitute Spacco. That's isn't gonna work. Also, the numbers were off. Let's try this again. Boop. Boop. There we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 through 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. And it depends on up to, is it including 6 or not including 6? I think it's including 6. If I say 2 through 6, I probably want to include 6. So in that case, since this isn't doing that, let's go down here. We'll stop the server. That's just the sub list. So this get range that GitHub Copilot like threw in there, this thing totally worked. To get that extra one, I'm just going to add 1. Okay, good. .NET run looks good. 2 through 6. Did you not hear me? You did hear me now. So I got to figure out this, like, why I got to hit enter a bunch of times to get everything to work. I don't really know why, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Yeah, I don't know. I can figure it out. Short and long descriptions. One thing I want to try. Yeah. Okay. If you remember, okay, I'll stop this. This is the last thing. I swear this is the last thing. Config.json. No, what am I doing? Code JSON books. Yeah. Okay, if you remember, thumbnail URL, we have thumbnails for these somehow. So, what if we, yeah, this is gonna be a mess. So there's multiple places we could build functions. Like we're basically like this part here, we're doing twice. We're doing it here and we're doing it here. That's just screaming to be a function. And we're also like generating this and then doing it again. And then we're actually doing it down here as well. That's screaming to be a function. So we could functionalify some of this stuff. But that's not what I want to do here. What I want to do here is up here. I don't know, the long descriptions I'm not that interested in. They're very long. Who cares? Right? Who cares? Do we want all of this? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. If we just get this much, it's fine. Short description, if there is one, love it. Long description, I don't want to read you anymore. I'm going to see if we have a thumbnail. And so for the thumbnail, what we're going to do is book.thumbnail URL, which let's just make sure, let's look at our book class and make sure that's right. Thumbnail URL. No, it isn't. Thumbnail URL. Good. But I can't just do that. I have to do image search equal. It understands what the quote means. I can't even effing believe it. And I think I can just close this. Now I should have alt text and everything else, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to see if this works. I don't know. Let's see. No. What? Don't bite me. I'm sure it's what I just did. 79 and 81. Yeah, of course. Yep. What did it not like? Well, this. Well, what if we just do a single quote there? I don't know. Why is that an issue? Single quote. I don't know. Let's try that. Like that. Okay. Get me this. Ha! Look. We've got the thumbnails. Love it. We could mess with the table widths and sizes and stuff. You can see this looks like a garbage website. You can tell it was made by somebody who's a programmer, but that's cool. We can get that's very cool. Okay. I like this. This looks nice. Do I want the long? I don't know. Whatever. You can play with the formatting. But you can sort of see where like, wow, we're doing this a bunch of times. And we're doing this a bunch of times. Like you can see the need for some cleaning up of the code, but I'm not going to do that for now. Git diff-n. Okay, git add simple server, git commit -m books servlet can now list books 1 to n, as well as pick a random book. Love it. Git push solution. Bam. Okay, good. That was great. Let me turn off recording and I'll start uploading.